This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson. Hello and welcome. I am Harry Wilkinson, and this is the Spirit and Wellness Show. This is the show where we take a look at the days and weeks events, happenings in the world, international news, politics, health, entertainment, everything that we hear about, everything that we interact with through our various new and traditional media, which seems to be proliferating at an alarming rate in some senses, through smartphones and social media and 24-hour news cycles, what have you. A lot of, I guess you can say it's information. Sometimes it's less informative and more inflammatory. But in any case, so much of this is dumped upon us that it can feel overwhelming. I'm sure that everyone has felt that way. But for some of us, it is particularly stressful. And so when it does start to become overwhelming, you want to take a step back. And you want to look at what's going on around you, or what appears to be going on around you, from a higher perspective. And that's what this show is all about. That's what we do here. We take a look at things that are happening in our world, and we examine it from a different perspective, from a perspective of, wholeness, a perspective of metaphysical awareness. Let's put it that way. What do I mean by metaphysical awareness? Well, from my point of view, from my philosophy, if you will, we exist beyond just our physical bodies. There is more to who and what we are than the physical manifestation that we have in our mundane lives. And when we connect at the higher level, at the level of what I call divine mind, when we connect in oneness, we are raising our, not only raising our energy, we are raising our awareness to another level, where you begin to understand how we are creating everything around us. So those things around you that seem to be not part of you are really very much part of you. In fact, on that higher level that I'm talking about, Big U is creating all of these so that you can have these experiences, that you can feel these feelings, that you can be aware of the truth of who and what we really are. Because what we are experiencing in some ways is illusion. The truth of who we are is contained in that connectedness, that oneness. Everything else that we create is a way of experiencing not that oneness, experiencing separation. Well, why do we do this? Well, that's a very good question. I think from all of my experiences and all of my meditation and everything that I have learned, I believe that we do it to have these experiences that make us expand, that make us more than or more of who we really are. and to reconnect with that highest level of self. And we do so with varying degrees of success, but in truth, there isn't even really a concept of success and failure. It simply is being, experiencing, and learning and knowing. So we take a look at situations in the world, situations in your personal life, in a new way. And we go into them, into those things that may trigger issues, may make you feel a bit overwhelmed or uncomfortable. We go into it and we feel the discomfort. And when we have felt that discomfort at its peak level, we can then begin to change how we see it. We begin to understand that it isn't real in the truest sense of the word, although it feels very much real, that it is something that you have created and put energy into in order to have an experience. And then you can appreciate the depth, the quality, the realness of what you have created. And on doing that, you can take your energy from it, understanding what it is. And once you take your energy from it, well, much like in quantum physics, it collapses into something else again, a wave of potentiality, if you will. Now, that process of taking energy back from a situation can give you a sense of empowerment. But we don't go into it with the idea of changing anything. That is the perhaps the what might feel contradictory at first. But you don't go in with a sense of wanting to change something. You go in with a sense of wanting to experience it and recognize it for what it is, without any need to change it. Because what it is ultimately a gift for you. A gift for you and a way for you to learn and have experiences. And so in appreciating things that seem unappreciable on that level, we can begin to expand our awareness of who and what we are and the world that we are creating around us. So that's a lot of what we do on the show. We also talk about health issues and holistic approaches to health issues. And that's what we're going to be talking about today quite a bit. We're going to be talking about transformational healing. And the reason that I chose that for today's topic, as well as we're going to continue our series of looks at predictions for the future in important areas in our lives. And in today's examination, we're going to be looking at the future of automation. We are living in times when increasingly jobs are being done by automated systems, software, algorithms. And it's increasing quite quickly. And some very well received scientists have some concerns about it. So we're going to talk about that. But the reason I chose this transformational healing topic is because last week I spoke a bit on racial healing in this country and the need for it. And the symptoms that are screaming out as, if you will. If you've heard the news lately, it seems every time you turn around, there's someone who's saying something that is either considered racially insensitive or has done something in their past which was racially insensitive, to say the least. Politicians like our Governor Northam, with pictures of him in blackface, people saying things that are derogatory, and a general rise in what appears to be backlash, racial backlash, as well as backlash towards religions, particularly there's an awful lot of anti-Semitism that seems to be coming to the fore. So we talked about, what needs to happen, why this might be happening, and how do we heal. And we talked about the idea of separation, as I just mentioned earlier in the program. The idea of separation, the false idea of separation, has to be continually reinforced by believing that someone who looks different, sounds different, is different, is the other, is the not you. And through this sense of separation, we can give ourselves an illusory feel of, in some cases, superiority. In other cases, just a feeling of self-protection. It's these false beliefs, and ultimately the false belief in separation, which is at the root cause of, racial disharmony, if you will. It's at the root cause of everything. But that's a big topic. So to narrow it in, since this is what we've been talking about, that false beliefs about differing levels of worth in human beings, those are the driving forces behind all kinds of inequalities, racial disharmonies. And so when we talk about healing, transformational healing, the goal in transformational healing is not simply to heal, but to recognize that the illness, that which needs to be healed, is part of a transformational process. And that in healing, you are growing and transforming. And that is what I believe is happening in this situation. Now I'm going to talk about energy healing for a minute or two, because it all connects into this idea. Because we heal on different levels. Obviously, when you have a physical